How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Paleopod, where today we'll be talking about...
So we're going to be talking about the return of the Troodon, and also the Jurassic World footage that we've just been given out, for like little teaser ready for Tuesday's full-on trailer. And it's out quite a bit, so yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so we'll probably be watching that a little bit later on, so that's going to be cool. But I'm stealing the joke. Somehow, Troodon has returned. 8 years, invalid, and he is now back.
Dark side magic, cloning.
Exactly.
Secrets only the Sith knew.
Yeah, I've talked about it pretty briefly on Dino Class. I know Dino Guy was the first one that I saw covering it, and then followed very quickly by Dino Facts. But
yeah.
I'm still waiting for sort of like colossal bioscience to add something like, "Oh, Troodon's back." Look what we've done.
I mean, we should probably add the necessary context to everybody. Of course, initially, Troodon was described off of a single tooth, which the tooth, granted, is very strange, very weird tooth. I completely understand why they described a whole genus off of that. But as a result, after the 100+ years that it's been known as a dinosaur, it essentially became a wastebasket taxon, which means that any type of fossil that was found was just looped into the Troodon genus, and it turned into a huge mess. And so as a result, in 2017, a team of researchers said, hey, no more Troodon. They pulled a Wanda Maximoff from the House of M, I think it was, where she says no more mutants. They said no more Troodon. And Troodon became an invalid species, or genus rather, and was split into two separate genera known as Stenonychosaurus and Latinovenatrix. And that's how it stood for, as Lakota mentioned, for 8 years until recently. Some more researchers have apparently identified, well, they've looked at a previously discovered specimen that could be attributed to Troodon. And they are proposing that this should be the neotype, because now they've officially described it, and they're saying, hey, this could be the one that speaks for the genus. And more context, there are basically two types of fossils that you find. There's the holotype, which is essentially like the first basis, like the first good specimen that you have of an animal. And then there's the neotype, which is like the second good specimen of the animal. The tooth would be the holotype. These fossils would be the neotype. Great. We're all caught up to speed.
Yeah.
Does the Troodon material be gumless then?
What?
When you compare the teeth to like almost match 1 and 1, so this Troodon is gumless, had no teeth.
Now, of course, same. Like most people are approaching this with the same caution that they approached Tyrannosaurus macraensis. There's possibly going to be some people who push back on it and say, look at the actual fossils and disagree. But as of right now, Troodon formosus is back, and interestingly enough, is supposedly a senior synonym of Stenonychosaurus, which is interesting. So,
I was going to bring that up too. And I love the idea that Troodon and Stenonychosaurus are basically the same thing. Latinovenatrix is just over there like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just keep going then. You guys deal with that. Like, no, they didn't even mention Latinovenatrix at all. They were just like, no, it's these two. So
it's not
he's feeling a bit left out.
Outside the party.
Yeah.
Wasn't invited.
So yeah, that brings a question. Does that mean things could come back? As in, the Nanotyrannus. When we get hold of that private collection, that one specimen.
It would take a lot. It would take a lot to prove Nanotyrannus is, without a shadow of a doubt, a valid taxon. Especially to me. Because when I started doing streams, I said that it was my least favorite dinosaur because it didn't exist as a joke. This started as a joke, but it has slowly grown to a case of resentment. I have even bet. I even bet Natural History Museum on TikTok that if they prove without a shadow of a doubt that Nanotyrannus is valid, I will deep fry and eat my own left boot. All right? And I will promise you that. I will do it.
That'll be the day when I renew my passport and come over to watch this in person. With a, like that Nanotyrannus Mattel figure, just like, come on, you little boot.
I gotta bring some ketchup.
It's like it'd be a bit like I think we were talking about. Well, I brought it up a bit ago, not on the chat, about the Chicago Archaeopteryx, where that was in a private private collector found it, kept it in a collection for like from 1990, and it wasn't even till like 2022 when people pitched together to buy it, so then they could take it to a museum. So I wonder if that would ever be the case in our future, where someone finds this private collector with this one Nanotyrannus, a group of people pitch together, buy it, to then give to a museum so then they can study it. If it was 100% Nanotyrannus, I'd probably go out and try and find it and buy it myself and buy it.
You just put it in your background?
Oh, no, I'd send it to your house. Well, you enjoy this Nano.
Yeah, see, like, I don't think I resent the animal. It is a point of contention. But, like, it's still a fossil, so I'm not gonna, like, break it or destroy it. So it's just gonna have to sit there in the background.
Just smashing up in his garage. No one can never know. I will not eat a boot today.
Never again. We were talking about a second ago with holotypes and neotypes. Have you guys ever seen how awful the holotype for Allosaurus is?
You know, I've never looked at a holotype.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen it.
The Allosaurus holotype is like just barely a hip bone. Hold on.
Jeez.
Yeah, so they had to make a neotype for it. So like it didn't get like the Saurophaganax treatment.
Yeah.
So this is this is the entire holotype specimen for Allosaurus fragilis.
Jeez, that's very fragmented, isn't it?
This is the neotype that they made so it didn't get the Sauro treatment. Or not made, but like named. So that's the neotype.
But the drastic difference there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more substantial, isn't it?
It's a little boy,
yeah. It's like way more fossil material for all of our listeners, of course.
Yeah, it's a difference between night and day looking at it, really.
Yeah.
But it's just mad how like a lot of fossils where like, oh, we've only found one type and it's just mainly fragmentary.
Yeah, if it's distinct enough, then they can do something with it, but it gets to be tricky. Not to mention all of the
Carnotaurus legs. We ran so fast, its legs were buried elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
separated in old age.
That is a thing, though. All that classification, though, because like the 1800s, that saw like a huge, especially with the Bone Wars, where they were just trying to identify as many species as possible, just to spite their rival. I'm talking about Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel Charles Marsh, of course. And so as a result, we're still kind of cleaning up a lot of that mess today. It's fun. Did you know that when Triceratops was first discovered, it was found from the brow horns, and they thought it was a species of bison?
They did.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the bison bit.
Yeah.
Because we had previously never found horned dinosaurs before. So they were like, this is definitely a bison.
I find it so interesting that the first horned dinosaur we found turned out to be the largest of them.
The thing I find like really interesting is like Ferrocinosaurus was thought to be turtle ribs when they first found its claws.
Yeah, that's fun.
Chelonoformis. That's how it's got its species name. I think when they thought it was a bison, they actually gave it the name Bison alticornis.
I think that's
which means bison with the high horns.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Imagine a bison with Triceratops horns.
Yeah, we've already got the inverse.
Would that be? Yep,
we've got
Bison alticornis.
Yep, we've already got the inverse of a ceratopsian with bull horns with the pseudoceratops.
Yeah.
Such a cool ceratopsian. You really
Oh.
doesn't get enough good representation.
I agree.
I mean, Jurassic's been doing nice things with it, but that's the only time you really see it, essentially, and stuff.
It's oversized, but you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine cattle with a bosk. Like,
Ooh.
that'd be an interesting looking critter.
Like, would it be on their nose or on their head?
Oh yeah, on the nose. On the nose.
On the nose.
On the head, it'd be like a Lasmotherium, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Its nose. Yeah.
Oh god.
On the nose. Wow, that'd be something to see.
Like, there's a plant that just makes me think of like Pachyrhinosaurus straight away. We call them living stones in the UK. I don't know if you call them that. It's a succulent, and it literally looks like a bosk. Like, I always as a kid, it was what brought my mind to it. I'll try and get a picture for you.
Whoa. Yeah, wow. Those are weird looking. Are you living in like the Cambrian? What?
They are cool, aren't they? I think the other
They
name for them
are.
is Lithops.
They look so old. Like these are like ancient looking. That's weird.
They are so cool, aren't they? Like, for anyone that's listening, it literally looks like a bosk, essentially, and they're like multicolored and these tiny little succulents. Super easy to grow.
Weird. Yeah.
There you go, Dan. I'll send you. That's a living stone, and that, like, literally, I saw those as like a boss.
Oh,
The boss there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So weird looking.
that's something.
It honestly looks like gummy candy.
I would eat them.
Do they not taste good?
Most things like that don't.
Oh. Just gonna like fall over dead. It's like
Pictures.
Fall asleep, never
So-
wake up again.
Yeah, so we're talking about other species. We've got Saurophagna, so it'll split into two.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
we'll definitely see where
definitely
that
not
goes.
coming back.
I mean, of course, there are those who are still arguing very much for Saurophaganax, so we'll definitely see where it
Yeah.
goes. Currently, I'd say that the evidence definitely supports it being mostly a sauropod, at least from what I've seen. We're at the mercy
Yeah.
of these papers. We can't go and look at the fossils ourselves. And from what I could tell, yeah, I think it's a sauropod with an Allosaurus skull mixed in.
There are a few paleontologists who do believe it to still be a theropod mostly. And I think the important thing to mention is that no one is going to like fight for either side. They will disagree and agree on certain things, but there's not going to be like a whole like sit down or like argumentative like debate over it. Because even the team that described it as Allosaurus anax was very open with the people who were contending the paper, saying it's just like, we could have misidentified something. We welcome anyone to take a look at it themselves and see what they think, and we'll talk about it.
Well, yeah, and that happens a lot. Like even with Troodon, for years, even though it was officially considered invalid, I've spoken to many paleontologists who still referred to it as its own genus, even when it was still invalid. Same thing with Dakota Raptor. There's still a lot who are like, yeah, Dakota Raptor's a thing. I
really like Dakota Raptor.
That one's a very strange case, though.
Apparently, I don't know. People have told me things about Dakota Raptor. It's very vague what they told me, but apparently we should be expecting a paper sometime. I'm not too sure, honestly.
If it's valid, cool. Another large dromaeosaur, though.
Yeah, of course, especially in the Hell Creek Formation. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's another one. Agathamus probably isn't coming back.
No, absolutely not. There was kind of like the star of returning genera is definitely Brontosaurus.
Oh yeah,
made the biggest comeback. Disappeared for several decades. 10 years ago, it returned. It's very interesting because a lot of people didn't really hear about that.
I didn't. I have a story with that. I went to a museum up near Canyon City here in Colorado, and they had a Brontosaurus skeleton. And I was looking at that, and I was telling my family, I was like, yeah, that's not actually a real dinosaur. I don't know why they have it up there. And I talked to one of the proprietors, and I was like, yeah, you guys have a Brontosaurus here. Why is that? And they're like, Brontosaurus actually existed. And I was like, what? And then they explained the whole thing to me. I didn't hear at all. That was like back in 2016.
Well, with the radar.
Yeah. All right. I mean, even in like 2018, like when I was up in the Hell Creek Formation, I was still under the impression that it was invalid. It was just synonymous with Apatosaurus. I didn't really hear about it until someone joked about its return, and I was like, it's back?
Yeah. Something I've noticed is if the paper isn't talking about a large megatheropod or just a theropod in general, most people aren't going to hear about it. Yeah. There is a huge theropod bias. All you have to do is look at the polls of my many interpretations of series. There's always a theropod bias. People like them theropods, and that's for good reason. I mean, all three of our favorite dinosaurs are theropods, so
we're no different.
Yeah.
We are not exceptions.
Yeah, we lean into that bias. We're not against it.
I mean, I like Styracosaurus, but it ain't Carnotaurus, I'm afraid.
Yeah, like my second favorite dinosaur is Pachyrhinosaurus, but I always rank Spinosaurus above that.
I think Pachy's a close fourth. Or
fourth?
No, yeah, fourth. Well, I only because to keep it consistent, my second favorite after Nanooksaurus is Eutyrannus. I think we all could have seen that coming because they're very similar. After that is Triceratops prorsus because I got to work on one and I thought that was awesome. So, and I say Pachyrhino is fourth because it's really funny how the Centrosaurine ceratopsids went from like centralized nasal horns to flat plate on face. Like I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong here. Do we have anything between like centralized nasal horn and boss? Is there like any like in between of that?
There's just, I don't know if there's necessarily any in between. There's just a lot of variety in ceratopsians in general. Some of them like have similar bosses to Pachyrhinosaurus, but are significantly reduced or just a lot flatter. It's just like, they're like ceratopsians are like fingerprints. There's no two that are alike really. And it's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
You still know if they were still alive today, they would be the most hunted creature.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta collect them all.
Yeah. Man, and that brings up another thing with the valid dinosaurs. Not too long ago, we had the description of Loki Ceratops come out. There were a few people who Data Guy has a figure.
Oh, you go on
that.
Yeah, Loki Ceratops.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The asymmetrical beauty.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, boy.
Sorry for the audio listeners.
It's a very beautiful figure. You have to take our word for it.
Yes. Very, very green, fitting of the name Loki.
Yes.
There are a few people who say that it is synonymous with other ceratopsians in the region, such as Windy Ceratops, Medusa Ceratops, and Alberta Ceratops. There is another side to that argument that I find quite interesting, which is the hypothesis that these individual genuses represent the same population of animals that slowly changed over time, which is something you do actually see with Triceratops horridus to Triceratops prorsus. There's also that same idea with the Daspletosaurus species as well.
Macraeansis to Rex as well.
Yep, there you go. Yeah. But yeah, I evolution doesn't always work like that. In fact, it almost never does. So it's super awesome that we get to see like little pieces where, hey, maybe this does work a little bit like Pokemon.
I like how it's always just like minor changes though, because people who believe in or don't believe in evolution are always like, how is like a little rat going to change into a giant thing? And it's like, well, it's gradual changes over the course of thousands to millions of years. It's like a gradient. You slide that gradient and it slowly changes over time. And that is something that you do see in, like you said, Proorsis to Horridus. They look identical if you're just looking at them right next to each other. But when you get a little bit closer, Proorsis has a longer nasal horn. Proorsis, its horns are a little bit like they're set a little bit different. It's really fascinating stuff.
I believe on average Horridus is also a bit larger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And on the topic of people who disagree with evolution or just don't think it's real or something like that. I was talking with my brother and his friend yesterday. I don't think it's evolution a lot of people have issues with. I think it's speciation. I think it's the concept of one animal changing so much that it becomes a different species. That's like the one thing they contend a lot. And I'm like, well, like a lot of them will accept adaptation as a natural rule of life, but that's evolution on a smaller scale most of the time. But that is evolution. That is change in a species. Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite case studies was Darwin's finches, where the same species of finch, but all its beaks are just changed for different food niches. It's still one of my favorite little pieces of work. It's such an interesting.
Galapagos turtles.
All that work that was done on the Galapagos Islands that just started us down this path where we're talking about weird looking ceratopsians like this and how they relate to each other.
Man. Another valid dinosaur that I'm remembering this because I was watching the Vividin the other day and their video on the updated 2025 list of megatheropods. And there is a lot of theropods, especially megatheropods, that are very fragmentary. Especially the larger Carcharodontosaurids. But I think the biggest example of a megatheropod that may or may not exist is Oshalaia or Oxalia, because it's known from so little fragmentary material. It's known from less material than Nanooksaurus. And that's crazy. Because Nanook is a piece of the lower jaw, a rib, and part of the nose.
Yeah,
so,
it's what's crazy is that we have more fossil material of Spinosaurus than Nanook.
Yeah,
and yet Spinosaurus is the one that's going to have drastic changes in its appearance.
What I find quite fun, recently, I'll say recently, it was probably a month ago now. I got kind of down a little rabbit hole looking into prehistoric life found in Japan, and a lot of it's just done off teeth, just teeth. It's the whole dinosaur here it's a Spinosauridae kind of teeth. So yeah, we've got Spinosaurus. We've got Tyrannosauroid tooth. So we've got Tyrannosauroid there. And then it was just a full-on documentary of these dinosaurs built of just teeth. I was like, this is cool.
Phylogenetic bracketing works wonders. Yeah.
Comparative anatomy.
Just imagine it turns out it was a ceratopsian with a Spinosaurus teeth. This is a fish catching one.
That's just the Spinoceratops from Cretaceous.
It's a real thing now.
Japan has some pretty interesting fossils as well. There was I think it was an Asdarkid pterosaur that was found in Japan a few months to a year ago now.
I think I know which one you're on about.
I don't remember its name, so
it wasn't all big either. It was size of a horse in height.
I think
they have a mosasaur there as well.
A mosasaur?
Yeah, from Japan. I remember that one. I talked with my sister about it a year ago.
Yeah, because they used it for a study on Mosasauruses even being in colder temperatured areas, didn't they?
I do believe so.
I think I remember that.
They're just everywhere now.
Yeah.
They're nowhere safe from a Mosasaurus attack.
Yeah. Man. Mosasaurs are so cool. Not even just Mosasaurus itself, but that whole family. Tylosaurus is my personal favorite marine reptile. Mostly because it lived in and around where I live. Because, Western Interior Seaway, Tylosaurus was chilling in there. So, but yeah.
Yeah,
For me, it's still like Pleurodon. That's still my favorite marine reptile.
I agree with you on
Predator
that one.
X.
Predator X.
Yeah, that was such a cool name. They should have kept it.
Did they have, was that like actually an official name that they had, or little
that?
placeholder name that they had for it? Or was that
Yeah,
just
I think that was just a placeholder name, I believe. Like, that was the generic name they gave it.
Isn't it just Pliosaurus now?
Yeah, it's just Pliosaurus. Yeah, hold on.
Predator X.
Here, I'll
Sounds like to be from X Squad. Oh, man.
Yeah, so it is a Pliosaurus. Hold on. Where did the name Predator X come from? Okay, so it was nicknamed Predator X by reporters because they couldn't figure out what it was by the time they were covering, because apparently they were covering the dig site for this thing, and they didn't really fully understand what it was, but they knew it was like a carnivore of some kind because they had found the teeth. So the news referred to it as just Predator X, apparently, and that's what most people reported. And then Walking with Dinosaurs happened.
Oh, so the Liopleurodon was based off of Predator X, the Predator X specimen, wasn't it?
Yeah, might have been, yeah. Hold on. First aired. No, wait.
Wasn't it Planet?
Because Planet Dinosaur used it. But
Yeah.
Liopleurodon, the reason why they made it so big is because other pliosaur fossils were found that were bigger. So they were like, let's make Liopleurodon big.
Yeah.
the biggest lie of my childhood. When I first saw a Liopleurodon fossil, I was like, wait, why is it so small?
Yeah.
Like I recently
French.
got this book right here called Walking with Dinosaurs, The Evidence.
Ooh.
And this explains why they made a lot of the decisions that they made.
That's cool.
So I have to look for the
Utah Raptor in Europe.
Yeah, their explanation for that is Europe and USA were pretty close at the time, and a lot of the fauna were pretty similar because there's iguanodon in both the US and Europe, so it's not unreasonable to say.
Iguana colossus. As of right now.
Now it's not iguanodon, but at the time they thought it was.
Yeah.
So
it may or may not be. Still, that's another thing that's being debated. So
there we go. Go back into the validation.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah,
we all done. Full circle, baby.
We knew we'd get back there eventually, back on top.
Eventually, yeah.
In Walking with Dinosaurs, it says Liopleurodon in Walking with Dinosaurs is a truly immense creature. The old male that stars in Cruel Sea is a whale-sized giant described as 25 meters long and weighing more than 100 tons. Son of a gun. This size
5 years?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It was huge.
This size created much debate in paleontological circles following the first airing of the program. Really? I didn't know that.
That's 82 feet long! Oh my god! That's longer than Mosasaurus hoffmanni! How did you get that number?
As no paleontologist thinks Liopleurodon got this big. Although several complete skeletons have been discovered, these are of individuals of between 5 and 10 meters in length, which is correct. It is less complete remains discovered in the Oxford clay that indicates lengths greater than this. Though here we move into an area of rough estimates and guesswork. A vertebrae at the Peterborough Museum brought to light in 1996 would seem to indicate a pliosaur of between 17 and 20 meters in length, and various fragments of snout and lower jaw in other museums. I don't like that they do that, though. They did that. It's like, okay, other pliosaurs could have been big, but why are you applying that to Liopleurodon, which has evidence of only being 8 to 10 meters long? Why are you doing that?
Because it's magical.
That's like upscaling a dog. To being a blue whale. Like that's not how.
Like, I get it,
man.
but they do that a lot in this, I've noticed. Because there's like Rhamphorhynchus apparently didn't live with Liopleurodon either. And they were saying that it's likely that it could have. And they have like a lot of explanations of why they did the things that they did. Because of course, nowadays Walking with Dinosaurs is not an accurate documentary. A lot of that has to
that version might be.
Hopefully. a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's outdated now, over 20 years. But a lot of it was inaccurate for the time. The Utahraptor, the Liopleurodon, and apparently the Rhamphorhynchus.
So according to BBC, unfortunately for our listening viewers, that's your Mosasaurus, and then
that's probably an accurate scaling too.
According to the BBC. Jesus. No, but that's insane because the Mosasaurus didn't even hit 50.
No, it's
50 feet long.
Like caps out at like 45 as far as we know.
And yeah, if we're going by bigger specimens, it's man. No, it's wild. There are certain things that I don't mind with like estimations. Size is one of those things that I'm like, you can either take the more liberal or the more conservative route with size. So you can do the largest confirmed size. So if like you represented a T-Rex with Goliath, I'm like, okay, yeah, with the notion that Goliath is also fragmentary.
Just a femur. He's just a femur.
Just a femur. That's why most representations of T-Rex are based on Sue or Scotty, because even if they are smaller than Goliath, they are still really big and also really complete. Or you can take the conservative route with like specimen 5027 or 5027, which is like the original holotype for T-Rex, which is what Rexy is based on. I actually have 5027 skull sitting on the top of my desk. I don't know. Anything beyond those 2 points feels unnecessary. Now, when it comes to like what you were saying with Rhamphorhynchus and Liopleurodon, with those two like supposedly coexisting or not in the Walking with Dinosaurs thing.
Yeah, I can't remember what you said.
Yeah. I don't mind that as much because like as long as they're like neighbors a bit, it doesn't really, And now I'm a bit of a hypocrite with that because I also believe that Utahraptor and Acrocanthosaurus didn't coexist, even if they're found in the same formation, like in just bordering cemetery layers.
That is also another thing too. It's like even if they did live at the exact same time, we have like American alligators they're probably not gonna meet like Colorado black bears, because they live at the same time, different environments though. That's also an important thing to remember. Yeah. But also they said, take for example, the giant Liopleurodon from the Middle Jurassic is portrayed with the long-tailed pterosaur Rhamphorhynchus, known from a slightly younger Solnhofen limestone. But scraps of pterosaur bones that are remarkably similar to those of Rhamphorhynchus have been found in the same rocks as Liopleurodon. I wonder if we've actually updated that. Like, have we actually identified those fossils yet? Because maybe nowadays we do know that Rhamphorhynchus lived with Liopleurodon.
Maybe.
I'm doing some research. So you guys keep going.
Okay. Yeah. Because that'd be perfect if they guessed correctly, I suppose.
We'll give it a different species name altogether.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like between now and then, because that's another thing that doesn't really get talked about. Pterosaur discoveries. Like it's just roughly there, like gliding across the news feed. Like I remember when that whole cliffside full of Pteranodon fecal matter and stuff was found. That's quite a big discovery, but it was just like very niche and no one really knew about it. Like that's a discovery and a half.
People don't like them pterosaurs as much, unfortunately.
No. They're not my favorite dinosaur.
So, if birds are flying reptiles, if birds are flying dinosaurs, why can't pterosaurs be?
Yeah.
I actually did have someone in my Discord today tell me that they had gotten in a debate with someone about someone apparently thought that birds were pterosaurs and had originated from pterosaurs. I'm like, how did they get there? Because pterosaurs are quadrupeds. How did they? What is it? Just like the flying animal with a beak thing? I don't know.
That has to be
It's
it.
weird.
Well, do you guys remember when that filter was really popular? Where it's like, is it a dinosaur filter? Where you like, guess yes, this is a dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I got a lot of mean comments about that, saying, it's like, well, no, technically Quetzalcoatlus is a dinosaur because it's a bird. I'm like, what?
It's not a bird.
See
Dog.
those feathers in Jurassic World? Definitely a bird.
Yeah, only birds have feathers.
Yeah, totally not pycnofibers, which are inherently a slightly different structure that comes from the same basic structure.
Die on this hill. The pycnofibers are feathers. I will die on this hill.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
The most recent research suggests that they are structurally the same to feathers. There's no reason to distinguish them. I actually recommend checking out Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong, his video on it.
Interesting.
He described.
I love those videos.
Yeah, he describes it very well. They are structurally identical. There's no reason to separate them. They are feathers.
I had always thought that pycnofibers were different in the fact that they were a bit more jagged and less symmetrical.
That was the thought for a long time, but a lot of that could boil down to like the preservation and the way that it was actually handled. But also, a lot of it gets to be like goes into hypocritical territory where it's like a lot of people agree that like early feathers, like proto feathers, are true feathers when they are still structurally similar to these pycnofibers,
Yeah.
So there's no reason to separate them essentially. And it's not like it's a stretch. Pterosaurs are the closest relatives to dinosaurs. They branched off relatively recent in the Archosaur family tree. So it's not crazy to think that they shared a common ancestor that also shared feathers, or maybe it's just a convergent thing.
Right.
Who knows? But I still think
there you go. There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah, and
Pteranodons are basically birds.
I will hunt you down and gut you like
feathers.
A fish.
Feathers.
Because it has feathers doesn't make it a bird. So real quick,
classic bird, the velociraptor.
There is slight overlap between Leopleurodon and Rhamphorhynchus. Leopleurodon appears first and disappears from the fossil record before Rhamphorhynchus. Okay. Rhamphorhynchus appears later, and it goes extinct at the end of the Jurassic 145 million years ago.
This goes into my favorite thing.
Bit of an overlap.
A little bit, yeah. So you could probably just say, yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying, biology?
And, that overlap. This comes down to my favorite thing is like, well, we just haven't found a fossil that links in with them. We just don't know yet. So I loved it because I joined in on it. It's brilliant how, Stegosaurus didn't meet T-Rex as only fossil. It just means we haven't found a fossil yet. It still could be a thing. It was about 9 or 10 comments just constantly going back and forth between this.
The whole absence of evidence is not evidence of abscess argument that people always misuse. It's like, yeah, sure, that could be true, but you're misusing it. That doesn't mean you get to say whatever you want. You can't say, Stegosaurus could have lived with T-Rex because we don't have evidence for it, and that's not evidence of absence.
Well, you've not seen Stegoceratops, so, Triceratops is still a T-Rex. The Stegoceratops could be right there.
Wow.
Triceratops isn't even a thyreophorian. What are we doing here?
How did we get here? I'm so confused. Watch someone justify T-Rex living with Stegosaurus by going, well, it lived with Denversaurus and Ankylosaurus, and those are thyreophorans, so it's like might as well, right?
Hey, when the logic is sound, what can I say?
Yeah. I blew someone's mind with the person who had their birthday yesterday that I went to the party for. I was talking with them very briefly because their special interest is candles. So we were trading facts. They were telling me about the history of candles, and I was telling them about dinosaurs. And one of my favorite things to tell people is T-Rex lived for 2 million years. the species of T-Rex existed from 68 to 66 million years ago. And I think there was an estimate that I heard of like the total amount of T-Rexes that ever were is somewhere in the 2 trillion margin. And it kind of just blew their mind because, like, think about it. The T-Rex Scotty was dead and in the ground fossilized while Sue was around. And that blows people's minds. Because like, we always think of, like, you know, when we're talking about dinosaurs, there's like these massive numbers. So 2 million years in comparison to everything else is like very, very minuscule. But like that's still a really long time. Our species has only really been around for a couple 100,000 years.
And we already have fossils of humans.
Exactly.
So it's like,
People just expect it to be over in a week.
Yeah, that's the impression I get. First of all, everybody thinks that all the dinosaurs existed at the same time. They just existed for like a month or a week, like you said, and then boom, asteroid, and they all just disintegrated. And that's why the bone should not be left. Like that's why the bone shouldn't be here.
It's shot off into space.
Man,
It's a T-Rex skull floating around a Dimetrodon skull in some people's logics.
I've heard the incineration. Kind of like the bones should have been incinerated.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you're right. The ones that were close enough to it, yes. The ones that are far
the
away.
ones in Australia.
Yeah, the ones that are far away, I'm sorry to say it, but they had a slow death.
Yeah.
You know?
So
They starved to death, man.
Yeah.
On that note, because I was thinking about that as well, not too long ago, I have downloaded Universe Sandbox, and this is a little teaser for something that I'm doing. I'm going to do a video where it goes in depth about the immediate impacts and what that does, because Universe Sandbox is a physics engine. I don't know if you guys have ever seen or played it. It's literally a planetary physics engine, and they have the Chicxulub asteroid or the meteor.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can just toss it at Earth. And I'm just gonna so this is what it would happen. Like even if I had problems trying to find it last night. But even if they don't, like we have the dimensions, like the wider parts for that meteor.
Wasn't it like 6 miles?
Yeah, it was like 6 miles wide, moving 11 miles a second.
Right.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, I know. When I tell people that, I was like, there is no like dramatic like end of the world screeching across the sky.
Oh my god, it's getting bigger.
It was just a quick little boom.
No, it just straight up wasn't like it cleared the entire atmosphere of Earth in a second. That is insane. It just straight up wasn't there, and then it was. Can you imagine a rock the size of Everest just appearing? It just showed up. Like, huh?
There wasn't even time for Mama Rex to hug its little baby T-Rexes if it even could with its little arms. There wasn't
even a chance for the dinosaurs to go like, oh, quick, go in a funny position.
What do you mean? All the T-Rexes are bent backwards, like.
Yeah. The classic
that also
death
has a pretty
pose.
interesting explanation. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the muscles in the back of their neck tense up.
Yeah, they
like,
just retract. That happens a lot in birds, I think, today.
Yeah.
Weird, almost like birds or reptiles.
And dinosaurs.
No, the bacteria.
Well,
we're all bacteria.
True.
We're all cyanobacteria.
We're all lobe-finned fish, all right?
Oh my god.
It is.
The blue whale is the largest fish to ever exist.
Wait, that's my line.
Remember,
it's true though, actually.
Yeah. I mean, like on a technicality of phylogenetics, yeah.
No, do you guys watch Clint's Reptiles?
Here and there.
No.
Yeah. He mentioned that the blue whale is technically the largest fish ever, and man, people just get so angry with him. It's like my man has a PhD and they still get angry with him.
Yeah. It's so. Do you guys remember the guy that I was talking with y'all about, like on Instagram, that sent me that like Q&A with like someone from the like Arizona University talking about like are birds reptiles?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
the first sentence.
Yeah, birds are reptiles was the first sentence of that, and they were using it as an argument that they weren't. And I literally, my response after reading it was, you have not read this. I refuse to believe that you read this article. Because the entire point of like things like that is that you make a statement and you use the rest of it to prove and explain your point. So off bat, it's not agreeing with you. And not to mention, they seem to have thought that phylogenetics was just some like like people don't use it. It's just a way of looking at ancestry. And I'm like, yes, it is a way of looking at ancestry, but it is a widely used system. This is how most people look at it. So it's like ridiculous behavior. Absolutely ridiculous.
Just Dimetrodons.
No.
Throw him in the wall. You're getting sent to the deacon traps.
I'll go to Library instead. Golden Street, throw myself in.
Go to the tartar pits.
One with the dyers.
The tartar sauce pits.
Tartar sauce pits.
Pretty sure that's what it was in SpongeBob.
Probably was. It probably was.
Yeah. It was the grease trap. Or something like that.
Yeah,
I love that show.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to take a look at the Jurassic World footage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at that. I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna let one of y'all screen share it to me. I have not seen this.
I'll go ahead and do it.
And then after this, we'll play a little game that will be uploaded separately to the Paleopod YouTube channel.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you right now that this little trailer for the trailer got me way more hyped than the first trailer.
Oh, yeah. Same. I like, it makes what I was saying about a certain animal before feel more what I was saying, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll see.
You'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah. I was saying about this animal, and the animal seems to get more like this animal the more we watch it.
Is it the Mosa being like a whale?
Spoilers.
Okay.
Oh, also, in the Instagram trailer, there is actually an extra clip.
Oh, it's 30 seconds.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it's just a quick little thing. This is the trailer for the trailer that'll be showing up on Tuesday.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I forgot that was completely necessary.
Yeah, always. Always. All right,
let's take a look at this.
Let's do it.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Oh my god.
Oh.
So cool.
This island was the research
Hey!
facility for the original Jurassic Park.
Any dinosaur's too dangerous. We're left here.
Squishy.
Jurassic World, rated PG-13.
New trailer Tuesday.
That was.
Hey, look at that guy.
Hey,
Yesterday we got some new footage for. Shut up.
Yeah, we're gonna. Man, who's this guy talking?
Yeah, what a nerd.
I know, right? I can't handle these dinosaur obsessed guys, man.
Yeah, I just can't take
I
it.
hear he has a podcast too, like every
Yeah.
other white guy.
Man, Squishy likes playing with his food.
Yeah, so what,
Yeah.
what do you think,
why does he
Lakota?
just-
So I noticed we talked about it last time, but like the pleated throat?
Yeah, please.
Mhm.
Very much more evident on the mosasaur now. That's interesting. I don't know if that is like a stylistic choice, or it actually has a practical use on the animal, because we were talking about it before. Like they have that because like they're like opening their mouths super wide and catching fish and stuff like that.
I really want to have a practical effect to it. Just imagine like trying to swim away from it, just sucks you in.
Yeah, that
cool.
would win me over. That would really win me over with that. The swimming T-Rex, that's cool.
That's my
I like
favorite.
that.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
That was so
Just-
cool.
Perfect.
So I saw like some people like, oh, why is it swimming? T-Rex can't swim, even though we have more like fossil evidence of it being able to swim than we do for Spino.
It definitely can
Yeah.
swim. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a video response to someone who was talking about the swimming capabilities of T-Rex and Spinosaurus a while back,
Mm.
and I blew some people's minds because I was literally like, yeah, we have what biology said. It was just like we have more evidence of T-Rex swimming than we do Spino.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
I had a few people who commented, like, because I left that comment on the video as well, and then I made a video response, and I said that, and there were a few people who was like, do you seriously think that an animal that seemingly has adaptations for swimming was a worse swimmer than T-Rex, or like there's less evidence of Spino swimming? And I'm like, well, anatomical evidence doesn't really do much for like proof of actions and behavior, so you have to look at like trace fossils, like swim traces and footprints and stuff like that. That is like evidence of an action happening. So
yeah, and plus my thing with that is everybody just looks at Spinosaurus's tail and they think that's a paddle tail, when it's also very similar to a basilisk tail. You know, and it's like basilisks, they do swim, but they don't use their tail. Their tail is used for display, so it's still shaky on what that tail was used for Spinosaurus.
Basilisks are a real animal?
Yeah,
Maybe
look them up. They got
really cool.
They got little tall neural spines like Spinosaurus.
It's a modern day Spinosaurus in a different clade.
Yeah, they're probably our best analog for something like that. But even that's not perfect. Spinosaurus is just too weird.
I know this this third picture, when you look them up, I've seen people draw Spinosaurus like sprinting across the top of the water.
Yeah.
I know this.
That'd be cool. Be like a General Grievous moment in art, that would be. Oh, look, we're safe. It's on the other side of the river.
Man, that's dope. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, you'll notice that like the PNSO figure actually makes it look a little bit more like a basilisk tail.
Yeah. Huh. I was about to look it up, but then I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I've referenced back here.
Yeah, it's like, hold on a second.
Mistake myself for some tapping.
There we go.
That was very
You did a
close
poop
to
out.
falling off, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. So that's my Edmontosaurus skin impression.
Yeah.
But that looked really cool. Okay. D-Rex is interesting. I'm still very cautious about D-Rex. I like where it's going. I've seen some pretty interesting stuff. It is all really going to come down to how they present this animal. Is it going to be a monster or is it going to be a tragedy? Will you be sympathetic or all that stuff? Because clearly it is going to do monstrous things.
Yeah.
We know this. But at the end of the movie, like, are you going to feel that its actions throughout the movie were justified by what happened to it and its creation and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So I really hope they go with tragedy.
David
Please.
Kep said that's the goal. He said their main goal was they want you to feel sympathy, even in small things like its roar. Like its roar sounds like it's in pain. That was apparently their main goal for it. So that's a good direction to take, because I do agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice subversion to have like literally what looks like a monster and have it be sympathetic. You know?
Yeah. And
I just don't want them to kill it off.
Huh?
I just don't want them to kill it off. I want it to survive and just be left on the island, just doing monstrous things.
But if they do a good job of making it sympathetic and they do kill it off, I feel like that could have like a really nice emotional payoff.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like maybe it's like
right.
a mercy type thing.
Yeah.
It might have a pretty powerful bite force.
T-Rex.
Well, the more we see of it, the more it reminds me of the Rancor. Did you guys hear about that new study that someone did? They determined they set out to determine the bite force of the Rancor from Star Wars, because they wanted to see if it could really bite a femur in half. So they used a lot of like computer imaging and things like that. And turns out it could bite through a femur, but it still does not have as powerful of a bite force as T-Rex. So the Rancor...
Put that thing in an arena now!
Interesting stuff. I love scientists who do stuff like that.
Have we heard what D-Rex sounds like?
We've heard like some like
the toy
rumbles and like some. It kind of sounds like clicking, kind of like the Indominus almost, where it's just like Kind of like that.
Yeah.
The toy makes some wild noises.
Does it? I haven't looked at
Do you
that
have
yet.
a video of that?
Yeah, I'm just so jealous because I keep seeing all these people showing off this toy. It's not even out in the UK yet. It's not out in the UK till like
Oh.
June.
Yeah, no, these toys aren't out in the US either. I have gone to Walmart several times. The Jurassic World section is still cleared off. Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I'm going to Walmart later because I still need to pick up the matching frame
Oh yeah.
for the other print.
Mhm.
So I'm going to there like sometime this week. If I find the Nano Tyrannus figure, I will actually buy it though.
Do it, man.
Like, if
Oh,
I
come on,
find
yeah,
it,
do
you
it.
have to.
I won't even take it out of the packaging. I'll just put like a tack right there and just leave it on the wall.
You need to. You need to.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. What was I gonna say? There was okay. I don't know if you guys know this channel, but they make some really cool videos going over like topics and like fiction and nonfiction type stuff and some speculative evolution. The name's Curious Archive, and they have a whole video, about sympathizing with the monster. It's like, and they use Shin Godzilla as an example because Shin Godzilla does monstrous things, like awful things in that movie. But at every point, you never really you have this sense that it is in constant agony. So you feel somewhat sympathetic for it.
Mm,
Yeah.
I need a story like that in the Jurassic.
I agree.
Should we play our game?
Yeah, I guess we can. Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up the pod right here then, if we don't
Yeah.
have anything else to say.
Yeah. Cool stuff. Troodon's back.
Yeah.
Other species may or may not be back in the future. New footage from Jurassic World Rebirth. We've covered Rebirth quite consistently on the podcast.
We have.
We did more on Tuesday as well.
We're gonna cover it again.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna be at work when it
Yeah.
happens. I'm gonna be sad. I have to wait.
You're gonna be in the bathroom again,
Yeah,
and you're gonna.
I kind of
I'll
want to
be
do a
staying
reaction
home ready.
video this time, though. I don't think people would appreciate a reaction video in the bathroom.
Imagine like it's just that, and you're just like, hey guys,
Just like, yeah, it's just over here like, oh, that's awesome. Did you see that? Oh, the T-Rex just breathed fire. Wow.
People outside the cubicle like, what's he doing in there?
man. New footage from Jurassic World Rebirth, and about it for us. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it's good stuff.
Very good stuff. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching and or listening. Again, make sure to check out all of our social medias. We got Lakota on the bottom, we got Paleo Pizza on the top right, and we got Dino Guy on the top left. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching and have a good one.
Peace.
See you later.